You're listening to episode number 22 of the Happy Choir podcast. Hello, people. I am your host, Carlos Cordero, helping you connect with others through choral music. This episode will be fun, I think, because it's about not taking ourselves too seriously. And God knows I've been on that road. But now I find that to allow myself to be more playful and to allow mistakes here and there to show me the way that I can improve things has helped me to be a better composer and a better friend and a lot of different nuances, a better musician too. So I just want to talk a little bit about this idea of not thinking that we're always performing brain surgery. Because guess what? We're not. Thank you so much for being here and for your support to this brand. The Happy Choir podcast is a very fun thing to do and something that I didn't train to do, but again, this allows me to have great conversations with amazing choral leaders out there, plus sharing a bit about the way that I think about composition, conducting, singing, and random facts in life. That's fun for me to do. I also want to quickly thank my patrons at patreon.com. Their support, which can start at as little as $3 a month, it's amazing. And it is not only money that they give to my brand in the Happy Choir podcast, but it's also a vote of trust for me. So thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much to you for being here and to listen to this episode and the others. Now, let's get to this episode of Not Taking Ourselves Too Seriously. If you've been here long enough, you know that I am some kind of combination between being deadly serious and then incredibly silly. I can be talking about serious stuff like self doubt and fears as a composer, but also go and say random food facts. And this episode definitely includes both. Both. See? English is difficult. This episode includes both. That's one thing that I thought at first. How can I record a podcast if I cannot even pronounce correctly some of the words? But here I am trying. The first thing that I want to say in this episode is that I understand and believe me that I know we are all artists. And I know that the choral world is such an important environment for everybody involved. For me, it has helped me in so many ways, not only as a musician, but I think it has shaped my life in many ways. Since I joined a choir in 2010, I didn't know anything about how to sing or anything like that. I didn't know even that I could be a composer. My life changed. No matter in what part of the choral machine, as I sometimes call it, I was happy. I was learning. No matter if it was planning a concert or performing on stage, conducting, writing music, it is amazing. Choral music for me is amazing. But at the same time, because of how much it has helped me, I also put a lot of self imposed pressure. I created this idea that I needed to be overly serious and be a super serious composer when, if you know me, you know that I am like a kid running around doing weird stuff with his voice and writing and dancing and a lot of things. But I thought that because of how wonderful choral music was, I needed to be deadly serious about every note that I put in the score and every note that I sung on stage. And that, as serious as I need to take my career, that also trapped me in a bubble, if that makes any sense. That didn't allow me to discover things that I could have done because of thinking that I was too serious for that. Some years ago, I wouldn't have even thought about writing a song about peanut butter or chocolate or avocado, which, by the way, two of those pieces have not been written and they are coming. I'm using this episode as accountability to write those pieces this year. In fact, sooner than this year. As you know, and this is a perfect segue, I love food and I love food examples. This episode, as I said, does not escape this idea. While watching the Great British Baking Show, and I said that right, so yay, one of the contestants was very stressed during the competition. He was giving himself such a hard time for what he was doing. But in the middle of the episode, he said, "It's just baking." It was that simple of a phrase that took him to unlock himself and be able to enjoy what he was doing, and also to be able to perform the way he would perform. He realized that it was not, I don't know, nuclear or something, I don't know. Think of insert fancy word here. As I said, it is not brain surgery. Though what we make can help so many troubled minds. Aha, that's interesting, right? But not the point. What I mean is that this person realized in the middle of the competition, in the middle of that stress, that he didn't have the life of a person in his hands. He was baking, he was doing what he loves doing and sharing it with others. So if something went wrong, he could always bake another thing or learn from the experience, and maybe he wasn't going to be anymore in the competition. Maybe he got kicked out that week. I don't know. But during the process, during the journey of completing that task, he could enjoy more and do it as he would, because suddenly this pressure was off. It was not in the picture of the competition. The stress was not letting him compete, was not letting him bake the way that he would. I believe that the same happens when we make music. No matter if we're conducting, composing, or singing, sometimes we find this extra stress. That's difficult to say. Extra stress. Extra stress. Say that 3 times. Because, of course, we care about what we're doing. We're in choral music because we treasure it. And we want to bring to the audience the best possible. But also, this self imposed stress will block us out. When we are stressed, we get nervous and we start self doubting our choices. What suddenly is a natural choice that you will do as a composer becomes this really difficult thing, because then you're thinking, is it the thing that suits this really important commission? And then you start to add all of this pressure to writing a new choral piece for a group that happens to be paying some money to you, right? The same thing happens as a singer. When I go to auditions, then sometimes I feel, oh, this one is really really important, so I need to be focused or more, as if I weren't in any audition, right? I'm just adding nerves to my to my audition, which, as we all know, it's never good. We want to make the art perfect. When you can fight me if you want, my email, carlos@thehappychoir.com. There's no such thing as perfect art. Art is not perfect. I'm going to say it again. And that is okay. Because of how subjective it is to like or dislike art, it is difficult to say that everyone is going to agree that one piece of music is perfect or that one paint is the one that's perfect. So, art is just art. In this case, we want to make it the best for ourselves, and I completely understand, because we are passionate about it. I feel that the best and the worst thing that I can say here is that even though if you make something better, you can still find somebody who thinks that you made it worse. And that's both concerning and soothing. So choose your choose your side. So my question is, why worry so much and ruin the experience that we otherwise will enjoy? My question comes then to, am I really this strict and squared to not be able to shout things and dance while I record a voice note of a sacred piece, to try to find some rhythm that I like in this piece? Am I too serious to do that? Then I'm missing out. I just want to quickly remind you that all of the links that are mentioned in this episode will be in the show notes in thehappychoir.com/podcast, or find it in the description of this episode. Also, Once you are there in the website, you can subscribe to the newsletter. This will come with a $20 discount for your next choral recording, a free guide that I've created just for you on the things that I've discovered in my career on how to be a happy composer, conductor, or singer. You will also receive a weekly email with podcast episodes, blog posts, and music. I hope to see you there. Now, let's get back to this episode. I believe that in many ways we're all part of this taking ourselves too seriously sometimes in life. I am guilty of falling for this trap. I get anxious before sending a text to music because I think too seriously of what I am doing. I want every note that I sing to this voice note to be the perfect note for that text. And that is just too much pressure for me. I know I have a responsibility here with the writer of the text, with the choir, with the audience. But here's the trick. I will meet that responsibility with the best of my skills when I stop thinking I have the life of people in my hands, which sounds crazy, but that's just me being very, very extreme. Think about that for a second. If you are constantly giving yourself the pressure of this has to be good, this has to be perfect for the choir, this is going to maybe be on a Grammy, I don't know, it's going to be recorded. If I put, there's so much fear there. There is so much that doesn't let you put your whole self in the project because you're overthinking every step, which is normal. But the sooner you realize that this is just a self-imposed stress, then the sooner you will be free to explore and let yourself fail if you have to fail, and let yourself create until you find the thing that you want to say through your music, through a text, to your performance. It is interesting for me that sometimes I get to set my own words to music, and I love that experience. But then I don't feel that much pressure compared to when I'm setting others people's words. There is something there to learn about. Both cases are the same, even though they involved different people, because it's all about setting those words to music and setting that story, that thought to, in this case, choral music. So why to put the extra pressure just because there is somebody else in the equation? It is not as if I cared differently about both, so why does one has more weight than the other? It's just interesting for me. But getting back to the, you don't have the life of people on your table in this medium, just think about it. You're not going to kill anybody if you make a mistake or if you make a shitty first draft. It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. I can be silly in a rehearsal with a choir if that helps me getting my idea in a clear way. I learned this by going to rehearsals as a composer with choirs, and at first I thought that I needed to be, oh my god, this serious person who will say measure 18 sopranos, you need to say the S, and then you need to do the, I mean, that just sounds so boring to me. I prefer to be the kind of person who says in measure, in this section, in section B, think about that you're flirting with nature and that you're thinking of the birds flying through the clouds. Do you know how it will feel on your face? That's how I want you to sing that phrase. And what's interesting is that I know it's not the clearest image always, but it gives you some idea. And of course, I can throw out here and there, hey, rhythm here could be more accurate. Let's tune this better. And I combine these two. Or even if I want to dance something, I don't know, there are so many ways that I feel I've let myself explain my ideas to conductors, to choirs, and it's all based on that, not taking myself so seriously. I learned that I like those everyday silly examples. And many years ago, I felt ashamed of that. I felt that people would not take me seriously. They wouldn't want to work with me. But that's how I am. So I will find the people that want to work with me because of that, not in spite of that, or not reject me because of how silly I can be sometimes. We worry about writing music as if our life depends on it. But it is not a matter of life or death. Death? Well, sometimes it's death, but no. Life or death. One of the worst consequences of this is that we reject help because we feel we must have the answer. It's like, oh, I'm so stiff because I am the composer and I am the only one who has to have the answer. And then it becomes this enormous pressure of producing the piece by yourself. But remember that you can ask to the ensemble, to the conductor, or even to your composer friends. You can reach out to people and say, hey, do you feel that singing will be too silly? I don't know, any sound. People might laugh or they might find it interesting. You don't know. Okay, I really got stuck there, but I left it anyways because it's perfect for this episode, I guess. I remember Ryan, conductor of Course Austin, an international educator, also happens to be my husband, makes reference of how he also welcomes the singer's suggestions to create a performance because they are all a team and they all have different points of view that can help make the performance a rich experience for the audience, for all of them. Check episode 17 to hear more of this wonderful sharing. Also, I'm a little biased because he's my husband and I love him so much. Which, some years ago, I might have felt that saying these kind of things on work would be something that wouldn't take me as serious composer. Ugh. I love being myself. And I love to be able to share myself as I am. Hey people, I want to take a quick second to tell you how your support makes a difference. When you support me on patreon.com, you are not only giving $3 a month, but you are giving my brand a vote of confidence. This translates to helping several other artists to connect through choral music. Think about it as a cup of coffee that you invite me once a month. Only that is way more impactful and personal. Plus, you get to be part of the behind the scenes of my career as a composer, with the many perks that I shared in there. Even if you're not able to give right now, your support listening to this podcast is great, even more if you leave a review in iTunes. Patreon.com/composercordero is the link that you want to visit or share with others. Hope to see you there. For the last part of the episode, I want to make some things clear. We can make our art an important task without making it a stressful and unpleasant journey. It doesn't have to be painful, it doesn't have to be incredibly difficult, it doesn't have to be so, you know, that sound. Exactly that sound. If our concert doesn't go as planned, nobody will die. Unless you were performing, I guess, with fire and you burned down the house, I guess. But please, don't burn down the house. To show myself this and break the fear, I had to allow myself to not be so serious, and I decided to follow my desire to write a piece about peanut butter. That was last year, and I have to say that that was one of the best decisions I've made in my artistic career. I just had so much fun writing that piece, and I couldn't believe every day that I woke up and went to my computer to write a piece about peanut butter, I couldn't believe myself. And it was okay with that. I wrote the text, the music, the ideas for the staging, and even recorded a video in pajamas that might or might not show one day. I might include it in these show notes. I don't know. It's very crazy. But let's first talk about the text. So, peanut butter, that's all the text. That's all the text that there is. When I decided to be a composer, I thought, okay, I have to use all of these really sacred texts that are really serious and important. And then if it was secular, it has to be about these serious ideas. But then I'm writing here peanut butter, and my past self will have just die about it, die in a not good way. But right now, I'm all for it. I love that I did this, and I want to do more. I am not Emily Dickinson. I wrote peanut butter. That's all. I'm not Robert Frost. But as you can see, the text is important to me, and I love it. Also, I say love instead of love. I don't know. That's something that I've learned, but I haven't quite figured out in my Latin American vowels where I'm practicing. It has been one of my favorite pieces to write, I want to say again, because it is so much fun and I can't wait to see it, to hear it out there and to see it on stage. I want people to feel the freedom and I want people to feel that choral music can be fun too. That choral music can give us this air of light and playful time. But to make it happen, for now, I made a recording singing all of the parts. I recorded it because I wanted to have the experience of singing something as silly and entertaining as Peanut Butter is. And I actually had a lot of fun too with that. I didn't record a video of me singing it, but well, I guess that in the videos with pajamas, I'm kind of singing it. Oh my god, I can't believe. I don't think that I'm going to upload this video yet. I'm not ready. Maybe. I don't know. I might be ready. But to finish this episode, I want to share with you that same recording. The audio recording of Peanut Butter, that is. So here we go, people. This is Peanut Butter, and I wrote it.
Peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter. Peanut butter, 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 peanut, peanut butter, peanut, peanut butter, peanut, peanut butter, peanut. Peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter. Peanut butter, 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 peanut
Yum.
butter, peanut 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 butter, peanut, peanut butter, peanut, peanut butter, peanut, peanut butter, peanut, peanut butter, 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 peanut butter,
If you made it to this point, yay! Thank you so much for staying here. I'm so grateful that we get to share this space of connecting through choral music. So please send me an email to carlos@thehappychoir.com with your ideas. Is there any time that you feel that you have to be serious in your career and that you feel that if you're not, you are losing something? Will you miss an opportunity because of being silly or because of being freer. I shouldn't say only silly, because there are some times that we need to be serious, but still we don't have to be so, I guess the word stiff. Let me know. I want to have a conversation about this and to know what your thoughts about this subject are. As always, the Happy Choir podcast is here for you to help you connect with others through choral music. If there is anything that I can do to make this podcast better or to make my performance on it better, please let me know. I'm always open to hear how can I make this more useful for you and for your choral art. See you in the next episode of the Happy Choir podcast. Ciao, people. Ciao, people. You've been listening to the Happy Choir podcast. For more information and show notes, visit thehappychoir.com.